Hey everybody, welcome to the Silver Phoenix Happy Hour. Hi Ken.
Hey Blaze, how are you tonight?
Hi, I'm good. I'm good, thank you. I got my twisted tea going tonight, which there's a reason behind the twisted tea, I guess, and we get into what the episode's about. We can discuss.
I have a strawberry margarita, which actually might go into some trivia that we might get into later on.
Okay. I see you're wearing a cape and I have a bow in my hair.
I would say
Um,
you asked me to get dressed up, and I don't know how I feel right now. I feel a little out of place and awkward right now.
I have Toto here, if that matters. So we just gave away what we're doing, but this is a Wizard of Oz this week, slash Wicked. But we got little Toto in the basket. Ken is the wizard, and I'm Dorothy, I suppose. But you know what? No matter what, I was thinking I could put the dress on, but with the blonde hair, uh, I'm probably more Glinda. So
No, I know we're not in Kansas.
I'm sure there's been productions of the show where there have been blondes as Dorothy at some point. So I believe I saw one actually years ago.
Really? Oh,
Yeah,
I haven't. Even like with all the different ones that they've done, like Return to Oz and
Oz the Great and
um,
Powerful.
yeah, yeah. They have all these different ones, and I've never seen a Dorothy that has blonde hair. It's always Glinda, right?
You brought up Return to Oz just
Yeah.
now. Don't you have a little bit of a weird kind of history with that movie? Actually, a lot of us did. I mean, were you one of the kids growing up that was actually scared of that movie?
Yes, I remember actually, I think one of my first times with you on your old show that you had, being your guest on the show for the movie awards, and I had that question to read. Which movie was, I think it was like, which kids movie was the scariest out of all the, and it was 100%, that Return to Oz one, because the heads and the interchangeable heads and just creepy, creepy,
No,
creepy.
with the Wheelers or whatever, they were kind of creepy with
Yeah.
like their heads would go down. And there was like a face on the top of the head, and
Yeah, so bizarre.
the gonk or whatever it was, the thing that they wrote in with the moose head on the front, and there was some weird imagery in that film.
It was very, very strange. Even if I watch it now, I think I'd still be a little creeped out. It sort of reminded me of what was that movie when they drained her essence? That was
The Dark Crystal.
a Dark Crystal. Oh,
That's still one of my all-time favorite movies.
creepy though, right? But so last week was August 25th was the anniversary of The Wizard of Oz. 1939. I mean, talk about something that has stood the test of time. It's still beloved, it's still iconic. Um, I love the fact that it was Technicolor and black and white. Like I know the beginning and the end, and then in the middle there, for one part it was the black and white when they were in Kansas, and then
Right.
not in Kansas anymore. It was Technicolor. I mean, how brilliant was that in and of itself? All right, so Wizard of Oz. We've seen some clips. We've talked about it a little bit. Let's get to our guest because I'm really, really excited about this. I actually know our guest a little bit. We're not like know each other extremely well or anything, but I had done a movie called Blue Halloween several years back for Anna Islandsfeld, who was in Wicked on Broadway and in a bunch of other shows. And Lindsay was nice enough to come in, and she was part of the movie Blue Halloween. So let's welcome Lindsay. Hi, Lindsay.
Hi,
Hi, how are you?
I'm so good. I'm happy to be here. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, you're welcome. So where are you? Where are you living these days?
So I'm in Morgantown, West Virginia, which is like an hour south of Pittsburgh.
Right, which
So,
is I have a lot of family there, so hopefully they all can tune into this because they can cheer on another
yeah.
Morgantown girl. Where are you from
Yes.
originally? You're from Pittsburgh originally, or you're from Morgantown originally?
Yeah, originally from Pittsburgh.
Okay.
So when I moved here, I was like, I can't believe I live in West Virginia. Like I never thought I would. And it's
Right.
actually an hour from my house, so, like my parents' house. So it's not even that far or
Right.
weird that I live here.
So
Yeah.
then what brought you to New York? Was that for theater? Or was it for, what was it for exactly that brought you to New York?
Yeah. So I always wanted to live in New York when I was younger. And I didn't always do theater. I actually didn't do a show until my junior year of high school because I was bored of cheerleading. And it was like my we didn't compete at my high school. So it was just like a club that was full of drama and not that great. And the teams weren't great. Like everybody were losing all the time. So I was just intrigued to do the musical. And so ended up doing it. And everyone's like, you're actually good at this. And I was like, okay. And it was just, and it was like the first time I felt like I was with people that cared about something other than like partying on the weekends. It was
Right.
like, oh, we all care about a thing. This is so cool. So then I actually went to school in DC for a year. I transferred to Pace University, which is in New York, for my BFA in musical theater. So it was for theater, but I kind of was by way of DC. And I think that was a good like stepping stone for me. It's like big,
Absolutely.
but not as, yeah.
So what was the first musical that you did in high school? And then what was the first one you did when you got out of college?
Yeah. So the first one in high school was Anything Goes. I was a teen passenger.
Oh,
And
fantastic.
I was like, this is it. This is everything. It was like, so it was just like magical. I loved it so much. And then the first one out of high school or out of college, did you say?
Out of, in New York.
Yeah. So the first one I did in New York actually was Bring It On the Musical, which was,
Okay.
I was a junior in college and I booked the national tour because they did a pre-Broadway tour. So I booked that and I left Pace for a month to be a vacation swing. So I went
Right.
in for somebody's vacation and then I replaced the same girl on Broadway that December. So that was my senior year. So I was like, it's all working
Amazing.
out. Like
Yes.
my path to stardom is just it's right there. So that was really cool.
That's
Mhm.
amazing. What was it like, your first Broadway experience? Like what was I'm so that was what I will say that that was a dream that I had when I was younger. As a singer, I had a very opera voice. It was very Christine and Phantom. And
Mhm.
then I unfortunately I had tumors on my vocal cords. So that dream was like
Oh,
I still sing, but a different kind of singing. And it's, how tough Broadway shows are. It's, 7, 8 shows a week, and I didn't know if my voice could handle it, so I just kind of stopped. I got rid of that dream pretty much, but I live vicariously through everybody else because I love Broadway so much. I know Ken does too as well. So
yes. Well, I'll tell you, doing it's weird because it was a cheerleading musical.
yeah,
So it's sort of like when I auditioned for it my junior year, or no, my sophomore year of college, and I didn't get it. And I was like, but I am a cheerleader. Like that was, it was like I was so mad at myself that I didn't go further. And then I auditioned again the following year, which was my junior year, because they had auditions again. And I made it. I before those auditions, I actually went to a master class that Andy Blankenbuehler taught. He was the choreographer.
yeah,
And I went and I like learned a lot of he taught a combination from the show. And then so when I went to the next audition, I already knew it. So I was like, okay. So I acted it while everybody else was still learning it.
right.
And I remember booking it and then yeah, being on like opening on Broadway it was a couple things. It was like surreal, but also like, oh, this is kind of the same, just like bigger budget. Like it's like not different. It's the same people. It's actors and crew and it's the stage manager. Like it was more similar, which was kind of surprising, but also my opening night, so it was a cheerleading musical. So there were at the end of the show, there's like nationals.
Hmm.
So it's like the good routine and then like the routine that breaks all the rules. Cause it's like the preppy school that like has to do everything right. And then like the rebel school that's like, we're not listening to the rules. But like for the good routine, it was supposed to be good. And there was like 7 swings on. So like a lot of people there was somebody doing a role they had never done for the first time and there were a bunch of swings on and So there was a moment where we're like crossing down stage, and I had like traffic with one of the other swings, so we like stalled, and then a stunt came down and landed on me, and I went down, and the whole audience was like, "Whoa!" And then all my friends were in the front row, and also there was like a big group of kids that night, like in the balcony. And so they were like acting like it was a real competition. So it was just like so loud and crazy. And so I got trampled, and then I was like
Oh,
crawling to the side of the stage, like, oh my God. And then somebody like corner tumbled and I got trampled again. It was just like, is this really happening? Like it couldn't get worse. I mean, I
oh
guess if I was
my
really
God.
hurt, but I was also like, just keep going. And I just kept going. And then I get off stage, and the stage manager ran up to me and she's like, "Are you okay?" And I was like, "I think so. I'm just really embarrassed." Like, and there are like cheerleaders, like real professional cheerleaders in that show doing the crazy
Right.
stunts. And they were like, "That was like a real cheer routine." Like but it wasn't supposed to be like that. It was supposed to be
Yeah,
perfect because it's a musical. It's not
right,
actually like a competition where people are messing up all the time.
right.
So that was just like, it can't get any worse.
I've
Well,
never I mean, I've seen Ken, have you ever been to a Broadway show where a big thing happened, a big mistake happened or something like that where it was, like, almost show-stopping?
the closest I saw was the trap door in the Phantom's Throne at the end not opening.
Ah,
It closed like the mechanism seized, and you could see him kind of like under the cape trying to like
Oh
figure it
no.
out, and then all of a
yeah.
sudden at the end all he hears conk, like this huge noise, and he found a way out, but it was crazy because
Oh
it was
my
obvious it was taking him a while
yeah.
to get there, and they were biding their time before Meg comes out at the end, but yeah, it was weird.
I remember, I used to work for the theater league, and I used to put, like, the surveys on the seats, and, I saw Mamma Mia about I think it was 30 times. I mean, not no lie, but I remember one performance, it was Carolee Carmello, which incredible,
Hmm.
lead actress. So it's Carolee Carmello in that lead role of Donna, and, it was her big song, "Winner Takes It All," and, the power went out. And
Oh
she
no.
f she sang for a minute, like well, not a minute, she sang, she kept going for, like, 30 seconds without anything, but these are tracks, it was not an orchestra, it was tracks, so she just turned and walked off stage, right in that middle part, right where turned and just
Yeah.
walked off stage, and maybe 2 minutes later, lights didn't come on or anything, everything was still down, but 2 minutes and I was in the balcony, I remember, like, that mezzanine balcony area, and I was, like, right in the front, and I was just like, I didn't know what to do, and then all of a sudden, she just walks back on stage, turns, and she began exactly where she left off. The music popped up, not from the beginning of the song, in the middle of the song, exactly and it was at the height of the song where she was singing the high notes and stuff, and she hit it, nailed it. She got a standing ovation. It was incredible. Nothing I've ever seen before.
Now, Lindsay, real quick, in the middle of a moment like that, like what goes through your head, and how do you pick yourself up and compose yourself
Yeah.
afterwards?
Do you guys remember that video of David after the dentist? Do you remember the little kid who was like, he got like Novocaine, and he's just like, "Is this real life?" And
Yes,
he's like in
yes.
the car, like saying, "That's." I was like, "Is this real life? Like, this cannot be." Like and it was just like, I have to keep going. And the thing is, like, we didn't do a lot of for my put in. So when you have a put in,
Yeah,
the new person does the show with their costumes on, and everybody else is like in Lululemon.
yeah.
And we didn't do all the stunts in my put in, but there's like people's bodies flying around. Like, we should have. That was, and I know it's like, to preserve people's energy and stuff, but like that show was so dangerous that we didn't do all the stunts. So I was just like, there were just factors that were with the lights. It was just different. So I just remember being like, is this really happening? Like, keep going.
Yeah.
Like, oh my, oh my. Also, I was like, do I have a concussion? Like, I was just like, because I like clamped down so hard that I was like, and so that was my Broadway debut, and the show closed in 3 weeks later. So I just replaced somebody right at the end. So I was like, I do not have I cannot have a concussion. I'm doing this. Like, I'm not
Yeah.
going to be hurt. Like, I'm going to keep doing it. So
Right.
luckily I didn't have one, but I did have like bruises on my back. It was like,
Wow.
so,
Method
and I
acting
was
there, I
like,
guess.
and I was like, it can't get worse. Like, it couldn't be worse than that. So
Right.
I was just so glad that I was not really injured.
Well,
But it was like it was mortifying.
Yeah.
well, we brought up a traumatizing experience on stage.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can you give us one of your most memorable that you keep in your head, like you constantly go back into your head that you revel in?
Yeah. I mean, Wizard of Oz, I'll say like the first time I went on as Glinda, I remember, so when you play Glinda, you get in the bubble and then they put you like up you're like up behind the proscenium, way above the stage, while everyone else is just like still talking and like getting in their spots and before the show starts. So you're kind of like alone up there for a while. And I just, and like the proscenium is like right there. So you're in this bubble and you're just like, the wall is right there. And I just remember thinking like, it's good to see me, isn't it? It's good to see me, isn't it? I just kept saying the first line and my mouth was so dry. And I just remember coming down and I was just like, if I can say the first line, all the other ones are going to come after. And I just remember coming down and you can't really see the audience because it's just like the lights are so bright and everybody's looking at you. It's like you're in the bubble with the dress and like, look, it's Glinda. Like it's about you're telling the story. And I just remember being like, everything I've worked for, this is like the peak of everything I've done. And it was just such a cool feeling of sheer terror, but also extremely calm. And I just remember like, I had just rehearsed it the day before. So I knew I could do it, but just that feeling of like, this is happening. And I'm like I'm on the ride. And I remember even the part where Glinda comes in before Fiyero gets there. So it's like when Bach runs in after her. And I remember I was like going through the show, like in my head, and I was like into act 2. And I was like, whoa, I need to be in this. I got to pump the brakes and just do this scene and not. But like, I really just remember that. And like the calm and the focus, it's just like so cool what our brains can do when it's like go time.
Yeah.
It's like you just execute. And that feeling it just is like such a superpower. So that felt really
That's
cool.
incredible. What was your favorite song that you got to sing in that? Because Glinda has so many good, fun ones, and she's such a fun character. So it's, which one did you like the best to perform?
I loved doing Popular because it's just so like you could just be crazy and so silly. It is very choreographed though. Like if you watch it, that was a surprise to me when I got there. I was like, oh, this is pretty much like go here, do this. It's very much blocked, but then you can play within that. But I also loved Thank Goodness, because it's like then you get to Glinda's the best because you get to laugh and you get to cry. Like you get to make people laugh, you get to make people cry. It's like you go on such a journey. So definitely like Popular was just so fun. And it was really cardio too. I remember just being like, okay, like you have to like really breathe because if you get carried away, it's like you go crazy and then you can't sing. So that was kind of surprising and something to work with in that song. But I just loved being crazy. So I guess it would probably be Popular.
Yeah. Since you mentioned, getting out of breath and stuff, I know that you teach yoga. Did you teach back then? And is that a technique that you use to help you?
I didn't teach then. So
Okay.
I didn't start teaching until after I got back to New York after Wicked. And that's when I started meditating. And when I started meditating, I was like, I started going to yoga. It was like yoga for actors. And I really loved that. And I was like, oh, I want to teach like chakra yoga for actors or something like that. And that was, like when I was in Wicked, I didn't even like work out. Like, I mean, I was like right out of college and I had gone to a lot of yoga. I would go to Yoga to the People in New York. And so I would sometimes work out, but that was not, it wasn't, I didn't see like I didn't know that the mental benefits of it and how I would really learn that it's something I needed to do to stay sane and happy in New York, especially.
Right.
And just mental and physical. But like, yeah, at the time I I mean, not really. Yeah. Cause I wasn't
Yeah.
teaching then.
Hey, Lindsay, going back and again talking about popular, because it is one of the big songs of the show, and every actress that I've ever seen brings something of themselves to it.
Mm-hmm.
Doing a production, doing like a national tour production like you did, is there any kind of room for ad-libbing during a song like that? I mean, or is it all bullet points? Everything has to be hit.
You could kind of ad lib when it was like, the part where it's like ball gown, like when when Glinda's like using the wand, you could kind of be like, you could kind of like say some things under your breath, but they are pretty on everybody to keep the integrity of the show.
Right.
So if you started to stray too much, they'd be like, reel it in. Cause it also is just so good. Like the material is good. You don't need to really add things, but it was like definitely tempting. And yeah, when people would start to go, cause you could just, you could go so crazy. And it would
Now,
be fun to see people's different things, but
yeah.
they would really like be sticklers for us to stay true to the script.
Right. Now, if you had to do the show again, male or female character, who would you play?
I think I would still want to be Glinda.
Okay.
Like,
awesome.
The thing is though, after tour, when I was back in New York, I went in for Elphaba a few times. And it was so interesting because I remember like the scene there, like the one scene for the audition, I remember like missing some of the lines. And I was like, I've heard this show 500 times, to mess up the lines. I was like, I can't believe I've listened to it on the monitor so many times. And also like when you audition for Elphaba, they make you sing The Wizard and I like 3 times in a row. Like they're just like, okay, do it again. Cause they want to see your technique for the end of that song. And I just remember being like, I want to do Glinda. I like Glinda. I'll do Glinda. And there's just something about like, I just am like attached to Glinda now, I think. The journey. I love the comedy. I mean, Elphaba, there's comedy too, but I mean, I guess maybe one day more will. Nessa's like, I remember like Nessa Rose is pretty, we always used to be like, oh, it's so easy because she just gets to sit the whole time and then have her like big moment in the second act. So we'd be like, oh, she just gets, but yeah, definitely. Glinda. Glinda. Yeah.
Yeah, that's cool. So we were talking about The Wizard of Oz earlier because it is the anniversary, August 25th, 1939, if you can believe that. Like it's insane. What are your memories of seeing Wizard of Oz for the first time and Judy Garland?
I think I did used to watch it with my grandma and just, kind of scared, like the Wicked Witch is like, she was scary. And yeah, Judy, it's just like, it's so brilliant. I don't know. I don't have like that many memories of it now that I'm trying to think.
Well, then we might, I was going to ask you to join us in a little trivia, hopefully.
Oh, okay. Let's do it. Let's see what happens.
All right. So you and Ken can discuss. Okay. So first question, some of them a little harder. Some are easier.
Okay.
The ruby slippers were not originally red. What color were they? And I'm talking about, this could be the L. Frank Baum version, but they switched it up for the movie in order, the red Technicolor. But what was it originally? What color?
Are we like raising our hand? Are we just like talking
you can
about
just
it?
Ken,
silver?
They were silver.
Yeah,
yes.
Yeah.
Yes. And I had to do it because the Silver Phoenix Happy Hour. So cheers.
Yes!
Cheers, everybody.
Cheers.
I got the little twisted tea for the twister.
Yes.
Gotta love it. Okay,
Yes.
good job, good job. All right, this is a true or false one.
Okay.
Toto, which wait, I got my bow here, and then I got my Toto in the basket. Ken's got
So cute.
his cape on, so we definitely try to emulate Dorothy and the wizard just a little bit. So Toto was paid more than the Munchkins. True or false?
I feel like true.
I would say true.
And that is true. Toto was paid $125 a week, where the Munchkins were paid $50 a week, but half of that went to their agent.
Oh
That
my
is crazy.
Yes, and I did just out of curiosity, I was like, I wonder how much Dorothy made and how much, so Judy versus like Ray Bolger, who played the Scarecrow, or Jack Haley, who played Tin Man, and $500 a week for Dorothy, 3,000 for the guys.
Oh, that makes
Big,
me just
I know, big disparity. I mean, I know it's that was 1939 too, so
yeah.
yeah, and Dorothy
Jeez.
had the most screen time, was the voice, was the, yeah, so yes,
Yeah. Oh, that's
not
horrible.
cool, not cool.
No.
Um, number 3, who wrote The Wonderful Wizard of Oz?
That was L. Frank Baum.
That's correct.
Oh,
Yes. Yes, yes. All right, so this one is a who said it. I'm just gonna give you the quote, and then you tell me who said it.
okay.
"You have no power here. Now be gone before somebody drops a home on you too, or a house on you too."
Oh, Glinda.
Yeah. You better get that one.
Yeah. I'm like, wait, I know this. Yeah.
That's why I left it for.
Yeah.
Yes, thank you.
Yes. Number 5, "There's no place like home."
Dorothy.
Dorothy. Yes,
Yeah.
100%. Okay, I like this one. "A heart is not judged by how much you love, but by how much is in your heart."
The Tin Man or the
I w-
Wizard.
I would say the wizard.
The wizard. The wizard.
Mhm.
I'm melting. I'm melting.
The
My
Wicked
sister,
Witch.
my sister in the rain.
Oh, that's terrible. I'm going to tell your sister. I'll make sure she watches this. Okay, back to the questions. What famous child star was originally the first choice for the role of Dorothy?
Oh, do you know, Ken? I think I know.
Oh,
Shirley
it's
Temple?
Yeah, Shirley Temple.
oh yeah.
Yeah, and I think from what I read, I'm pretty sure they thought her voice couldn't carry it long enough, like because she was young. So,
Hmm.
okay, at the beginning of the movie, what does Dorothy fall in? She falls into something and is saved by one of her one of the hands on the
Wasn't it?
farm.
Was it the pig pen?
It was, yes. Yes, good call. Good call. And last
Hmm.
question. Where did the word Oz come from? So L. Frank Baum, when he wrote the book, where did he come up with the word Oz? I thought this was interesting.
I feel like I should know.
It
Ken, do you have a guess?
it came off of a file cabinet. It
It
was
did,
it
yes. So
was
it
A
said
to
Oh,
A
N and
through
O to
what?
N.
Z.
Yeah, A through N, or O through Z. And he said he saw O through Z, Oz. That's what they
Weird.
say. Yeah, that's what they say. Who knows? He's not alive to confirm or deny. So,
Yeah.
but
Cool.
you guys did really well. Bravo.
Thanks.
Bravo,
Good job,
bravo.
Ken.
Good
Yeah,
job.
so let's switch it up a little bit. So we've talked about Wicked, a little bit of theater, but I know that you're a life coach, so I want to hear how this, began and kind of what you're up to. Tell us everything.
Yeah. So in 2020, when I always say like theater was canceled and fitness was canceled, like all theater went away, yoga teaching went away, and I moved back to Pittsburgh with my parents. And I remember just being like, what do I do? Like, what? And I had known actually a friend of mine who used to work as a financial advisor. And I was thinking about her and I was like, I feel like she could really help me get my finances together. And also, right before COVID, like even before it, I was going to do Thoroughly Modern Millie at City Center Encores. They were like rewriting Millie, and it was going to be like a new, like the writers were rewriting it. It was going to be really cool. There was all this buzz about it. Ashley Park was going to be Millie. It was just going to be really cool. But even before that, I was like, I got to make a change. Like, I was just tired. I was teaching so much yoga, and I had done The Flamingo Kid, which we thought was going to Broadway in 2019. It was a new musical, and it was just taking a long time. It like a year, we're still waiting, like a year later, don't know what was going to happen with it. I was teaching a lot of yoga, and then COVID happened, and I was like, okay, so like, this is a change, like it was a change that I didn't choose, but I was ready to just like reassess. And so I started working with my coach. She worked as a financial advisor, and she reached out to me because I started teaching yoga on Zoom, because I was like, what else can I do? So I started teaching yoga. She wanted to come to class, but she couldn't that day. And then we started talking about coaching. She was like, oh, I'm a life coach now. And I was like, oh, I might need this. Like, this sounds, there's something here. Let's have a conversation. So we talked, and I was like, yes, I need this. And I thought it was about the money, but it was about so much more than that. And just working with her, I never felt like my life was on pause with COVID. I was just like, what can I do? And I met my partner in Pittsburgh during COVID. So we met on Hinge. And then I created a musical theater class series with my friend who's a casting director in Pittsburgh. And then we got hired at a charter school because of our classes. I also won $50,000 on a game show. I was on $100,000 pyramid. So I was just like,
God, that's fantastic.
Thanks.
That
Yeah. And like, so
amazing.
like I was just like making it work. I was really like riding this wave of just like, what can I do? Showing up, teaching at the charter school. Okay. So I was teaching at a high school, and then my partner at the time was a lawyer. So we were moving to Philly, which, Blaze, where you're from. Yeah. And I was like, I really think I could be a coach. And I had already been teaching yoga privates that were turning into coaching sessions. It would be like mostly talking and then like a little bit of yoga. And I was like, I love the coaching part, not as much the Warrior 2 part. So it just felt like a natural transition. And then I opened my business, and a lot of people came to me. And so right now, the people I work with are mostly actors, writers, directors. They all have a creative streak. So I like to say I help creatives love their creativity, and I help them do it full time. So whether that's like some of them have a day job. Like, I have a client who I talked to today, and she just finished writing her children's book, but she has a full-time job, but we've created a way of being for her that she's like a full-time writer, even while she's at her day job. Right. So it's like, and just like coming back from the pandemic, a lot of actors and writers just coming back in and like loving it again and showing up for it, and not having like one foot out, one foot in, but just like going all in for it. And it's just been amazing, and I love it. And I kind of feel like it's acting and yoga had a baby, and it's coaching. That's what it feels like. Yeah. So, and I love being able to travel. Like, I'm in Morgantown now. I love being able to go back to New York. I go back a couple times a year, and I was going to do a show actually in October that would be a month long, and the producers moved it back. So I don't know when it's going to be, but it's like, it was a workshop, but it's like, I love that I can do that. And I love that I can live here, and I just feel free now. I feel like I don't have to be in one place. I love the freedom of it. And I love like the art of coaching. It's sort of like, I'm so interested in it, and how I can, like, I'm just always thinking about how I can improve, I can help my clients. And I love when they book things, or they like write their pilot, or they like have a meeting with Warner Brothers or something. It's just like so fun. So
so how would somebody find you if they want to? I mean, we're scrolling your Instagram right now, but yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But is there another way that they can find you to learn more about, you and the life coach? I don't know if you call them classes or life coaching sessions, maybe.
Yeah. So basically, Instagram's the best place, because I also have my email on there, my coaching email, and people can send me email there, and you can also just see on my Instagram. I also have stuff on Facebook, but I think Instagram is probably the best place where like most of my content is, and you can kind of see how I work, and you can read a lot of the stuff that I post and just get a feel for if that would be something you're interested in. Yeah.
Cool.
So definitely
Awesome.
Instagram is the best place.
Definitely.
Yeah.
And Ken, do you have a question before I ask our last one that we always ask?
I do, only because I'm curious that you brought it up, saying that you were on Pyramid. Who did you play along with during your episode?
It was Dr. Oz and his daughter Daphne.
Okay.
If you want to watch it, it's on Hulu. It's season 5, episode 2, the second half hour.
How funny though, Dr. Oz.
Yep.
I mean, that's like,
that is perfect.
Yeah, that's like that's kismet, if you will. Like, I mean,
I feel like that I was like supposed to say that so that we could tie that together.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah. Yep.
So
he wasn't the best, but you'll see what happens if you watch it.
I think I remember the episode now.
You do?
Well, I mean, it's not like Dr. Oz makes a lot of appearances on game shows, so
That's true. Yeah, I don't think he really practiced.
from what I remember, I don't think he did either.
Yeah, but he kind of messed up, which actually allowed me to advance in a certain. So like it actually all kind of worked out. But if you want to watch it, you'll see. Yeah,
I'm
and
so
that was like my
curious.
job in 2020. I was like, I just trained for that. Like, I practiced so much. So
Love it.
yeah, it was great.
So the question is that we end all of our interviews with is, and I'm excited about this one because as a life coach and then in the business, I'm really excited about your answer here. But what piece of advice would you give to someone that's coming up in the business, or even somebody that just wants to start, and they're newly into it? What pieces of advice would you give?
What's coming to me now is like, find the fun. Like, keep it enjoyable.
Yeah.
Because it's going to be hard. And if I look back at the times, something I teach that one of my coaches teaches is high and low value cycles. And like, when you're in a high value cycle, it's like learning and you're engaged and you're passionate and you're showing up for it and you're like open to opportunities to learn. It's like you're engaging with it as like you're co-creating with it. And then if you think about a low value cycle, it's like, why am I doing this? This is too hard. I should just do something easier. Like, just noticing like the thoughts when you're in the flow and noticing when you're out of it. And I think also just learning how to fail and not make that mean that you should quit. Like, learning how to embrace failure and failing forward versus like using failure or mistakes as like a reason to quit. Because that's the only difference between people that make it and people that don't. It's like how your relationship to failure. And I see it even with my business. It's like learning how to like expand. And so something is a good question could be like, how would you treat your career? Like, that could be your performing career. How would you treat your career if you knew you couldn't quit it?
Yeah.
Because it's like, what if it was just, and also you can decide if you don't want to do it anymore. So it's like just being real with yourself. If you really want to do it, and if you don't, great, that's fine too. But just if you really want it, like being in it for the long haul. And like dating your career, like let it be it's a relationship that you're in. So keeping it like flirty and fun is the like, do that. Yeah. That's how you keep showing advice.
Up. Yeah, I love that. That's the perfect advice. Well, I'm going to say cheers to that because I love that.
My water.
That idea. Flirty and fun. Absolutely. That seems it's like right up the alley. And also find, kind of that find the fun is exactly what, even Wizard of Oz, if you look at Wizard of Oz and the story in and of itself, it's this adventure, right? It's an adventure that she went on, and and ultimately it was about going home. And but who knows? I'm always so curious too, like what the real story was. Was it a dream? Was it, did it really happen? Like kind of, and I love that you don't really know the answer exactly. We didn't get the answers written out for us, and I love that.
Yeah. Yeah, that's like the fun of it. It's like, is it real? Also, what is real?
Yeah.
What even is real? Yeah.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much. This is Lindsey Brett Carruthers, and we're so happy that you joined us today. And we're gonna promote your Instagram and just promote you any way we can because we love you and wish you the best. I hope that you come back on if you do another show or if you want to talk about anything else. Please let us know. We'd love to have you back.
Awesome. Thank you
It was
so much. I
yeah, it
appreciate
was
it so
definitely a
much.
pleasure meeting you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Ken. Thank you, Blaze.
You're welcome. We'll talk
Sending you
soon.
all the good
Take
vibes,
care.
and we'll see you soon.
Yeah.
Bye.
Bye.
Take care.
All right. Wow. What a great interview.
I love her. She's awesome.
Yeah, I knew that you would. It's I think too that there's sometimes people that you meet, um, and again, I've said this a couple weeks in a row, but the word authentic comes to mind immediately, and I even remember that from meeting her. We worked like an overnight too for Blue Halloween, the movie that I met her on that I directed, and authentic, like that's 100% the word. And I'm so happy that she's life coaching now because and still pursuing her music theater um in general. I hope she does more film and other things like that too. But yeah, 100%, it's just so cool to watch somebody like that flourish and kind of see what they're going to do next. I'm curious what she's going to do next.
Speaking of next,
Yeah.
we still have to find out what Nicole has for us in the kitchen tonight.
We do. All right, let's see right now. We can roll that clip.
What's up, Ken and Blaze? I'm in the kitchen and I heard we've got a little theme going on. Lions and tigers and bears. Oh my. And while I'm not in full Tin Man regalia today, something that's always near and dear to my heart is good old aluminum foil. I don't know if you could tell, my kitchen is a mess because it's almost back to school time, and utilizing aluminum foil is great for a couple of different reasons. One, when we use foil, we're not putting more plastic into the environment. I know living by the ocean, that's something a lot of us can relate to, right, Blaze? But also, foil can make a great meal that sort of extends the summer season. So you could put a lot of different things into a foil packet. You can make foil packs with potato, beef, corn. Hi, everyone's talking about corn lately, right? You can also take something like brisket and cook it in there. You can make your own s'mores packets. I often do roasted plantains in a foil pack, just taking ripe plantain, slitting it down the middle, wrapping it in foil and baking it. Doesn't require any extra oil. So foil is really, really your friend when it comes to being a little bit more environmental, when it comes to saving calories, and also easy cleanup. If we're eating out of a foil pack, that is one less dish that I have to do. And boy, does that make me super happy. Ken and Blaze, however you are celebrating with foil, enjoy that easy cleanup, and I'll see you next week. Back to you in the studio.
Aluminum, the Tin Man. Did you, it's so funny when I think of aluminum, I think of the Tin Man. Did you hear that there was another actor that was slated to play the Tin Man, but he was replaced because the makeup
Yeah,
went into his lungs and
it was it
he
was
ended up getting sick?
it was Buddy Epson,
Yeah,
and he was allergic to the metallic in the paint.
yeah,
I believe it was like actual silver or actual metal in the paint.
right. Yeah, it's crazy. I mean, nowadays you can't get away with that because everything would have had to been hypoallergenic and
Yeah.
tested ahead of time and all of that. But I know, like the Wicked Witch of the West too, Margaret Hamilton. Imagine playing that character forever. She was known as this like villain, no
Well,
matter what. Talk
well,
about,
do you remember Mr. Rogers did a segment with her?
No.
that they used to play on PBS. Yeah, she showed up on the show just so that he could show to kids that she really wasn't the Wicked Witch, and she actually got into the costume, and then they took her out of it. You know, so that you could see who she is. It was pretty cool.
Wow. No, I didn't see that, but, it's, I have to go. I'm sure that it's out somewhere, right,
I'm
on maybe
sure it's on
YouTube or
YouTube or
something.
something. Yeah.
Yeah, but I know she actually got burnt on set and they
Hmm.
didn't stop. They kept rolling, which I think is just horrible. So she did get burns and stuff, and I know the green makeup was flammable. That's probably how she got burnt in the first place.
I'm sure the
But there was a
outfit
lot
was
of
too.
yeah, yeah, but there was a lot of things that happened, during filming, and filming took a long time too. I know that I read somewhere that some of the Munchkins may have gotten fresh with Judy Garland, who
Yeah.
was underage. Um, you
It's
know,
not, I don't even want to talk about the inhumane ways they actually took care of the flying monkeys because they were real monkeys. You know that, right?
were they? No, I didn't know
No.
that. I was gonna say, you have me. I already have a cough, and I was like, literally, I was like, "Where's my drink?" Because I'm about to cough, but then I didn't want to like spit something up, so wouldn't be very ladylike of me.
For a second, actually, you actually believe that they were real monkeys. I love it.
I did. I was like, "Wait, what?" I might have to look it up because listen, there was a real dog. You never know. But so for Beach Coming with Blaze this week, because we'll segue to that. Lions and tigers and bears. Oh my! Today's episode is all about lionfish. Named for the massive amount of spines on its body that resembles a lion's mane, lionfish are visually beautiful, majestic fish. They're also called firefish, turkeyfish, zebrafish, and butterfly cod, to name a few of their nicknames, and are native to the Indo-Pacific. They are an invasive species, and these top predators have been known to eat their way through reefs in the Caribbean and Eastern Atlantic. They can expand their stomachs 30 times its normal size and are very voracious eaters. They're even found in waters here in Long Island, New York, where I live too, probably the result of outgrowing their tanks and their owners releasing them into the ocean. Since females can lay 2 million eggs a year, hello population growth. They're nocturnal, usually brown and maroon with white stripes. And let's talk about those spines, 18 of them, each containing venom right around the base. And although it probably won't kill you if you're stung, you'll be in for a world of pain. Lionfish steer clear of us typically, but if you were to get stung, the treatment is to remove the spine, clean with some soap and water, and then soak the injured area in hot water. Well, until next time, explore, learn, love the adventure.
I learn something from you every week, Blaze. It's Blaze and her little dog too.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I did go with the bow, which my friend Raluca, I'm sure when she sees this episode,
Yeah,
is
how
going to
did
be
you get
like,
away with just a bow? And I'm like in like metallic everything purple going
you know
on
what?
here.
I'll be honest. I went to my office to look through my costumes and I said to myself, 10 minutes tops to go through these costumes. And if I can't find my Dorothy, I got to come up with something else. And I couldn't find the Dorothy. So I was like, I found this though. I found Toto in the basket. I just
Oh,
didn't find Dorothy. And I was like, all right, either I lent it to someone and they didn't give it back, or it's in another, it's somewhere else. So I was like, all right, well, what can I do? And I remembered that, remember when they're in Oz in the Emerald City, and and they're getting like cleaned up and fixed up. So like the Tin Man gets shined, and
mm-hmm,
the Scarecrow gets stuffed, and I think the Cowardly Lion gets bows in his hair and
mm-hmm.
and curls and stuff. Well, Dorothy gets the curls and she has a bow in her hair. So I was
Right.
like, all right, I'll go with the bow, even though this is red. I didn't think it through exactly, but red's my
Well,
color. So I was like,
well, well, this goes back to earlier in the show because I had a little bit of trivia that had to do with my drink.
oh,
And
tell
like I
me.
said, I had a strawberry margarita, and based on the color, um, the question is, what color was Dorothy's original dress on set?
So it wasn't blue?
It was, but instead of white, it was also pink because of the Technicolor process.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, no, it was actually blue and pink.
Gotcha. Oh, I wouldn't have known that it was pink. That's
Yeah,
very
because it was a brand new process, and the way that everything was put together and the way the colors worked, they actually had to saturate certain things in order to make it look the way it was supposed to.
right. Oh, how interesting. I mean, I just I've been watching it more lately because a job that I work at, um, we test some streams and things, and when we test the streams, my boss plays the Wizard of Oz when we're testing. So I've been watching it because he's like, "Oh, watch it," and then I end up just leaving it on in the background. It's supposed to be 5-minute test, and here I am, like, you know, finishing the whole thing, and then I'm like, "Don't end the stream now. It's at the good part." So it's towards the end. But speaking of the end. That'll
Yeah.
do it for us.
Yep.
Thank you so much to Lindsey Brett Carruthers for being an
Absolutely.
amazing guest and sharing all of her stories with us. We just loved them. And to Nicole and to you, my friend, and to our audience, thank you guys for joining us. And until next week,
Have a good night, everybody.
bye.